Arsenal have done it. They have finally managed to beat Manchester City. There is so much to discuss. I'm so happy that football is back. Football is pure, isn't it? It's unrivaled, it's unmatched, and it's finally back in our lives. I'm over the moon. In this video, we need to talk about an awful lot, but some points that I really want to get into. I want to talk about what this means to Arsenal Football Club. How significant is winning the Community Shield? How important is it, and what can we learn from it? I also want to talk about the celebrations that we saw from the Arsenal players and the Arsenal fans, because I have a feeling that people are going to be very sneery about it, and I want to challenge it because it's not how I feel at all. And also, I think we have to talk about, I think it's very important that we talk about Aaron Ramsdale, the measure of the man, the mark of the man. What a performance from him off the back of what must have been a very turbulent week. So let us get into it. Before I do, though, I need to say, can you do me a favour? If you agree with the points that I raise in this video, please give it a like, just so I can monitor it. I want to see what people are saying. I'm going to be doing my predictions video this week, and I want to see how people are feeling about Arsenal, just to know exactly where I put them in that video. So, football's back. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Finally, football is back. We have waited. What a long, close season it has felt without any tournament in the summer. And it was brilliant, wasn't it? What a display. Full of rivalry and passion and quality and jeopardy and aggression. It really was fantastic. And I tell you what, this is my opinion. And I have a feeling it won't be popular with people who don't support Arsenal, but it's how I feel. I think Arsenal have got off to a flyer. I think it's really important that Arsenal have won the game today, and I think they played really well. The resilience to bounce back from going a goal down late in the game is significant, and we have to take it very seriously. And their ability to launch a serious and sustained title bid now, we really do need to explore that, because I think it's a massive result. Don't get me wrong here. Look, the Charity Shield, it's not an indication of what's about to happen in the season. I'm not going to overplay the result to that extent. You don't watch a Community Shield or Charity Shield or whatever it's called now and know what's going to happen in the forthcoming season. But I do think that it gives you a little bit of an edge. And for Arsenal, in this very particular context against Manchester City, it's got to be, at the very least, a psychological victory for them. Arsenal have got to have managed to win a psychological victory against Manchester City. So I do think that it's important. And what else we have to remember is that this victory for Arsenal was against a team that they haven't beaten 8 times in a row. 8 games in a row they have lost to Manchester City. Somebody told me, by the way, when I was watching this game in the pod, don't know if this is true, that the last time Arsenal beat Manchester City in the league, Mikel Arteta was playing. That can't be right, can it? Do you know what I mean? And when I say things like that, they've lost 8 in a row. Arteta was playing the last time Arsenal secured victory. If that is true, and look, an old drunk in the pub told me that, so you'll have to check it. But if that is true, the 8 in a row is definitely true. Surely that gives you some insight as to why it's such a big result for Arsenal today. To beat Manchester City at Wembley, the reigning treble winners, the reigning European champions, the reigning Premier League champions, to beat them at Wembley, to take the Shield away from Guardiola, that has to mean something. And even if you don't want it to, even if you don't like Arsenal, like me, we have to concede here that this is a big result for them. Really big. Like, I heard Declan Rice talking after the game, saying, that's why I came here. I came here for days like this. I came here to win silverware like this. There is a belief in the dressing room. There is a belief within the fan base. Trust me, I know a lot of them. So I am slightly concerned. And for Arsenal today, resetting that record, 8 in a row, is very important. Winning the trophy is obviously very important. Going into the history books as the winners is very important. And let's be totally honest. If they had lost today, you know when Cole Palmer scored, let's pretend Alcaraz scores another one, right? Let's pretend that happens. All of a sudden, we're going to be really sneery about it. All of a sudden, we're going to be laughing. We're going to be saying, oh, Arsenal, they're looking shaky. They're going to struggle. Maybe even they're going to struggle for top 4. There's a vulnerability to them. Arteta got it wrong. Whenever they play a big team, they can't get it right. That's what we would have been saying. I would have been saying it. I would have been enjoying it. I would have been embracing the opportunity to say that. It's a shame that they've won. When Kevin De Bruyne hit the bar, I was gutted. But it happened. And we have to give Arsenal their due here. So, it's a shame. But did you see the celebration? This is the second point I wanted to talk about. the celebration, the reaction within the Arsenal fan base here, huge. I don't think I've ever seen a set of players or fans celebrate a glorified friendly. A Charity Shield is a friendly. I've never seen a celebration like that. And now this is where it's important. You can adopt two ways of looking at it here. And I haven't been on social media yet. I imagine that people are saying, God, they're celebrating like they won a European Cup. Look at them, these mugs. They're looking like they think they've won the FA Cup. They think they've retained the league. They think they've done this. I don't really adopt that policy. I find it very annoying when people are sneery about other fans celebrating, over-celebrating your team winning games at Wembley, over-celebrating your team scoring goals away from home, over-celebrating. The concept, it really doesn't chime with who I am. You can't over-celebrate. Your team's just won at Wembley. You've gone potty, and rightly so. If you were giving gentle applause, that's what I'd be laughing at. That's what I'd be sneering at. If you found it maybe not a big deal, I think you have to rank everything. But the concept of over-celebrating, to me, it's an oxymoron. You cannot over-celebrate your team scoring a goal. Chelsea had won at Wembley today. If Chelsea had won the Charity Shield against Man City, I'd have given it. I'd have been happy. I'd have been over the moon. And I would have also wanted Pochettino to enjoy it. I would have also been really happy if our young, vibrant team had embraced that and gone mad and started sliding around Wembley, winning football matches at Wembley. We really want to be sneering at how much you celebrate that. It doesn't really chime with who I am. But saying that, I have never ever seen a team or a fan base celebrate a game with such gusto of this magnitude. Like, I've never ever seen it. I think what we can read into that, though, particularly if you are, you're not within the Arsenal camp, you don't know Arsenal players, you don't know the feeling around the camp. If you're on the outside, you can learn something about the celebration. The fact that they're celebrating with such gusto like that, maybe in modern football, it teaches us something. Maybe when you were trying to hunt down a team like Manchester City, this game does actually matter. Historically, if you're my generation, maybe you don't think it does. But I think football evolves, football changes. What we're experiencing isn't the same. It doesn't live forever. There was a time when the FA Cup was seen as nearly as important as the league. That's genuinely true, by the way. The Premier League the Football League was the biggest thing to win. The FA Cup was just a smidge under it. There was a time when some clubs would prioritise the FA Cup. It was seen as a huge trophy. But time has changed. Maybe there is an evolution in the Charity Shield, which I must learn is now called the Community Shield. And I must start saying it correctly, considering that I work in football, run a YouTube channel, I'm fortunate enough to work at TalkSport and the club, and I still do not know what the competition is called. It's pathetic, but I will get it right, I promise you. The Community Shield. Community. But maybe it's changed. Maybe it is big. Maybe it does matter. Maybe it is significant or is moving in that direction. Because Declan Rice knows more about modern football than I do. Of course he does. He's part of the game. He's part of what it's like. He's in dressing rooms. He's being coached by Mikel Arteta. He just played for West Ham winning. He gets it. And he thinks it's massive. So who are we to sit maybe on social media and go, why are they over-celebrating these mugs? Maybe we should acknowledge that they have done something very, very impressive. And remember, beating Manchester City is very difficult to do. Almost impossible to do. So many struggle. And Mikel Arteta has done it today. And that is why he's walking around the pitch at Wembley, celebrating with the Arsenal fans, the biggest smile in North West London. That's why that's happening, because it's such a big deal. And he's watched his team win the game. And do you know who I wanted to talk about? There's so many people you could talk about here, right? You could talk about the impact of half a dozen. Yeah, I could even spend a bit of time talking about Kai Havertz, but I won't. Do you know who we need to acknowledge here? Aaron Ramsdale. This is almost worthy of a video in its own right. Maybe I'll do that. Should I do that? Do I do it? Well, maybe not. Aaron Ramsdale has had a turbulent week. There's a lot going on. Arsenal are linked to David Raya. The Arsenal goalkeeping coach has obviously a friendship with David Raya. David Raya is probably potentially going to end up at Arsenal, which is undermining for Aaron Ramsdale. Very difficult for him. In the same week, he had an article released about his own stresses and tribulations. At the end of that week, the week culminates in him going to Wembley to play against one of the most ferocious and feared attacks in world football. What a performance. What a fantastic performance and statement. And actually, we gain an insight into who Aaron Ramsdale is. I don't know why, but he seems very unpopular. I like him. I rate him. I think he's certainly in contention to be number one. But, friends that I work with, people who I'm friends with, they don't seem to share the love for Ramsdale. They don't seem to believe that he's as good. There are often similarities and parallels drawn between him and maybe Joe Hart, who was seen as being far too focused on passion and less focused on the skill. I think that's a harsh assessment. I think Aaron Ramsdale's a very good goalkeeper. I think he makes good saves, and I think he has the ability to start Arsenal attacks. But the links to a new goalkeeper, the article in the Tribune, and this game, it's a hat-trick, a very difficult one. And the most important, from his perspective, would be the football. And look what he's done. Look what he's done today. Saving a Rory penalty. Issues, don't get me wrong, it was a poor penalty. But Ramsdale put Arsenal in a situation where they were one kick away from victory. That's huge. But then think about why Arsenal were even in a situation where they could be in that penalty shootout. Around about the 82nd minute, there were two terrific saves from Ramsdale. And he actually got White out of trouble. I think White had lost the ball. Alvarez was sort of scurrying on the edge of the area. He turned back inside, found Foden, and he basically managed to knock it past Saliba and then hit a right-footed shot. Ramsdale's save was truly brilliant. Like, really, really impressive. Like, if you looked at Foden's face off the back of missing that, you couldn't believe it. Straight off the back, there was a corner, and it was another brilliant save from Ramsdale. I think De Bruyne flashed the corner to the near post. Rodri stooped to flick the header towards goal. Ramsdale actually, he was a couple of yards off his line. He was positioning. Maybe we could talk about, was it correct or not? Definitely felt like he was too far across. But he makes up for his imperfect positioning by sort of plunging down to his right to make an excellent reaction save. So it doesn't really matter where he was stood, does it? Yeah, his positioning was wrong, but he saved it. So put that in your pipe. So I think it's very impressive for Arsenal in general today. And look, you can write off the Community Shield all you like, but to come from behind so late in the game to beat Manchester City is obviously important for Arsenal. When you think who Arsenal are, what they're hoping to do, what they're hoping to achieve, and who put them to the post last year. Of course, this is important. And then you have to take into account Arsenal's record against City in general. Football's back. I'm over the moon. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you're new around here, my name is Rory. I talk about football a lot, and it would be my honour to welcome you into this community. Please click that subscribe button in a bit.